everyone, this is Untouched ASMR, and today we are going to be doing another Reddit story. This one is going to be a true scary story. I wasn't going to do any scary stories because I thought it probably isn't super relaxing to listen to, but there's a lot of demand for ASMR true scary stories. So that's what I'm gonna do. I obviously am not wearing any makeup. I might look a little redder on the eyes. I have I don't know if it's pronounced seborrheic, I'm not sure, dermatitis. And like I get a lot of irritation under my lip here, all around my eyes, and like random spots on my face, and also my allergies are bothering me, so my under eyes today are super red and itchy, and so that's why I look a little crazy. We're gonna be doing this soft spoken. If I get any feedback that you want some whisper ones, then I will definitely do that too. Later, I'm going to film a video of me getting ready for work. I'm a bartender, so I'm just going to do some light makeup for my Friday night shift. But first, I wanted to read the Reddit stories. So this is how long this one is, if you can see. Alright. Okay, let's get started. This title is called Alone at the Campsite. Really quickly, I personally am 100% afraid of the dark. I am 23 years old and I am still afraid of the dark. Being at a campsite, I have done before in the dark, and it is very, very scary. I can't go to bed without a YouTube video playing in the background, which is how I kind of got into ASMR, watching it, because the silence and the darkness I just think that there's a murderer or ghost or something out to get me. So this definitely scares me, this heading, because I already know that I'm gonna get the chills from being scared. Okay, here we go. In the summer of 2022, I was desperate and frustrated. I had quit my job a few months prior in the pursuit of my own startup, and my business wasn't exactly thriving. After 6 years of IVF treatment, my wife had blessed me with a daughter early that year, and while I was elated to be a father, the stress of being a dad, the financial pressures from the clinic, and the weight of being the sole provider for my family had taken a significant toll in the recent months. As summer approached, I decided I needed a weekend away to clear my head and get back into the grind. I decided to take a 2-night trip, just me and our dogs, to a lake off an old logging road about 3 hours from home. Okay, I have 2 things to say already. 1, I'm a chronic burper, so please don't mind. And 2, the fact that he's going alone, that's super scary to me, and the fact that he has dogs that he's bringing with him, obviously that's safety for him, but I'm worried for the dogs now. I am a dog person, very much. Oh my god, I look like a raccoon. Oh my goodness. It's okay. Where was I? Here, okay. It was one of my favorite spots, and I knew the woods there quite well. I packed my things, leashed the dogs, which were 2 blue heelers, and set out early one Tuesday morning. When I got to the trailhead, the parking lot was empty. Middle of the week, I was stoked to be alone. There was a single deer path up a canyon about 1,200 feet over 5 miles to get to the lake. And neither myself nor the dogs met anyone else on the trail the entire way up the mountain. I got to the lake around midday, spent the afternoon fishing and collecting wood and water for the coming night. The lake was pristine and quiet. Not a soul in sight. I was truly alone aside from the dogs. I found a flat spot on the east side of the lake where the vegetation cleared and I could set up a tent, and I made a small camp about 30 yards from the trail. I would have preferred to go further up the mountain, but it was still early in the season, and when I got to my campsite, the rest of the trail was too snow-packed to continue any further. As it was, I had to navigate over several hard-packed embankments before I got to a suitable area. The icy slush was difficult to navigate, even for the dogs, and when we had finally crushed our way over and through a few hundred yards, I made the decision we would be going no further. I set up my tent, hung my pack on a limb, and took my fishing pole back the direction I had come. I spent the evening catching and cooking fish at the edge of the spillway, and as the sun began to set, the dogs and I made our way back to the tent. Slipping over wet stumps and clumsily pushing through the snow, I stumbled into camp exhausted and ready for a fire. As I approached the site, though, I realized some things were out of place. My pack, which had been hung on a limb, was sitting neatly on the other side of the clearing, about 20 feet from where I left it. Sitting on top of it was a large eagle feather. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. The dogs began a low growl, but as they circled the site, there was no one there. As soon as the dogs start growling and you can't see anything, that's when you know that there's trouble. There's something there, you know. Again, I apologize. I look crazy. I'm gonna have to put something on that before work because I look like I actually have like red eyeshadow, pink eyeshadow all over my eyes. Okay. As I approached my tent, a stick had been used to carve an inscription into the dirt outside the entrance. It was two U's, one upside down, connected to the other by a thin line, and then further connected by another line to a larger U shape. I would describe it as Native American petroglyph in the shape of a bird or an eagle. Uniform, symmetrical, and above all things, fresh. Someone had been there. Someone neither I nor two very distrusting dogs had seen, heard, or smelled. Someone who had left no footprints through the snow and mud. Someone who had not passed us on the trail or whose car had been parked at the trailhead. My stomach dropped. I felt a presence of being watched, but I couldn't tell from where. I quickly built a huge campfire and with dread watched as the last of the sunlight sank beyond the ridge. That night was a fever dream. Pulling the dogs into the tent with me, I clung to my knife and flashlight, praying that whatever was watching me would leave. It didn't. Throughout the night, I was periodically awakened to a variety of sounds: yells, shrieks, the snapping of branches. The dogs would sit up, growl, and bark until I would open the screen of the tent and shine my light into the forest. At one point, I had just drifted off to sleep when the dog's low growl woke me up. Thinking I might have the drop on whatever this was, I slowly unzipped the tent and leaned out with my flashlight. Taking a deep breath, I clicked it on. Standing just 3 feet from me was a doe and her calf. I scanned across her. An entire herd was in the sight. Herd. An entire herd was in the sight. As my dogs lost it, the deer spooked and sprinted back into the forest, a crushing and trampling noise as several dozen deer evacuated the area. As it faded, I heard laughter. The deep laughter of a man turning to crying as it escalated, then sobbing, and then to deep growling, much more boisterous than anything my dogs could make or even a bear would produce. I held the dogs tightly. Sleep eluded me for the rest of the night, and as soon as the sun peeked into the valley, I packed my things and left. I have never been so terrified in my life. Has anyone ever experienced something similar? It's been 2 years and I can't make sense of it. I need answers. I would be terrified. I don't know if I would ever go camping again. It's not even like anything happened that harmed him or the dogs, but it's just like, something's there. It's like either an entity or a person or whatever it is, but you don't know what it is, and it doesn't make sense of how it's there, and like the details, you can't form a story about that. Like, you can't form an explanation on what it could be. Like, that's scary. Let me see. I'm trying to look through the comments. Everyone's just saying that's creepy. Very, very creepy. Okay. Let me see if there's any other scary stories that I can read you. Okay. This one, it says that there might be a part 2 to this. I'm not sure, I'll have to see, but it's very short. It was posted 2 days ago. Okay. The title is, I keep hearing footsteps in the attic every night at midnight. Now that I looked at what was making the noise, I regret it. Okay. Also, I'm here with my coffee today. My mug says, sorry I'm late. I saw a dog. This couldn't be the most me mug. Like, this is just my personality on a mug, so. Okay. For some backstory, I live in a lower middle class neighborhood with my 2 siblings, 6 male and 8 female, and my mother, 37 female. I am 15 male, and I'm generally not noisy or break rules, but this noise has got me really worried and scared. Every time I confront my mom about it, she said it's nothing and to never check on it. But this noise has driven me crazy every night at 12 a.m. I just think about what it could be. I tried going in the daytime to see if I could find anything, but I couldn't find anything. Tonight I'm going up there to see what it was. That was one of the biggest mistakes of my life. That night, after everyone went to bed, I snuck up into the attic at 11:50. I thought at that moment that it would be alright and that I was just imagining it. But a few minutes later, at 11:59, I started panicking, thinking something bad was going to happen to me. But just then, the clock struck 12 and nothing happened, and I just thought I was overreacting. When all of a sudden, I felt that something was watching me, but then, when I turned around to see eyes in the darkness of the attic, no, oh God, the creature randomly smiled at me, sending me in a panic, making me slowly walk back. But just then, I fell into the hole in the attic, sending me falling backwards onto the floor. I blacked out.